You're on your Feel Good Breakfast show right here on S3, and this morning, yet again, we're having an important conversation. We all know that mental health is a journey that's not only complex, but it's also deeply personal. And this is why it's always so important to be able to find ways that you can help support your mental health the best way. We've brought in our experts because we don't only believe that mental health is something that's affected by absolutely everything, but it's also something that can be helped by so many different things. So let's welcome to our Feel Good Breakfast show none other than CEO of Phytoceutics, Laura Johnston, as well as counseling psychologist and the founder of Conscious Psychology. It is, of course, Sanam Naran. Everyone, let's welcome these beautiful ladies. Hello, gorgeous ladies. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Amazing, thank you. I want to start with you, Sanam, because, of course, you are the founder of Conscious Psychology, and it's a brilliant name. I love that term. Let's talk a little bit about what it means exactly and what does it encompass?
Conscious means to be aware. So one of the basic premises of mental health is that you're aware of what's going on. You're aware of the dynamics that you bring to your relationships. You're aware of your struggles. So I think that that's super important. But another thing is that conscious really encapsulates all the cultures in society.
Wow.
So within South Africa, we have different races, identities, cultures, religions. And so I found that there was a lack of psychology practices in South Africa that put a focus on culture and representing the different identities that we have within South Africa.
One word, though, that is almost a buzzword, particularly on social media, is trauma. And it's a word that has big implications. So can you talk to us just a little bit about, what exactly are those implications? What do we need to know about trauma?
When we speak about trauma, we often think of something devastating and big and lifelong, such as gender-based violence, a robbery, losing parents at a really young age, sexual assault. And that is traumatic, but trauma can also be the little things that we experience, things that affect us on an unconscious level and that we're not really aware of.
Oh, wow.
So for example, having a parent that is physically and emotionally unavailable, being compared to your siblings or being treated differently to your siblings. It can be seeing your parents in a dysfunctional relationship, and all of these things affect us on an emotional level.
Yes.
And most importantly, have an effect on our adult relationships.
Sure.
And I think we need to acknowledge that.
Yeah, and I think it's a very relevant topic, and something I've actually been researching quite a lot is this big T versus the little t. The big T are these big traumas she's been talking about, and the little t are the build-up of numerous things that affect your mental health.
Yeah.
And it's important to support your mental health on a daily basis to help manage these little T's.
Yes.
So gut health is just so important, and I think gut health is really coming to light, not only with consumers, but also with the medical fraternity.
Yes.
And a lot of your neurotransmitters that manage or control your mental health or your brain are actually created in the gut. So to make sure that you have a good gut microbiome ensures that you have better mental health as well. So one product that we have called Ceregut has actually been clinically studied to improve this gut-brain axis and to help with this neurotransmitter production. And then also something called Felix, which is a saffron extract, and it has been proven to really help with depression, as effective as SSRIs, it shows in some studies.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling down and you don't really want to be on pharmaceutical medicine, give something like Saffron or Felix a try and make sure that your gut is in a good state.
Incredible. I love the fact that we have options, right? Because I think that that's always so important. But Sanam, I'm going to come back to you because we know that struggles with mental health can manifest in so many different ways. Can you talk to us about some of these, please?
So I think as a society, when we think about mental illness, we think about hearing and seeing things that are not there, or having mood fluctuations that go, up and down. But sometimes the decline in mental well-being can look like being a perfectionist, waking up with anxiety in the morning, needing to caretake in all of your relationships, or needing to fix people around you.
Sure.
People-pleasing comes up a lot, chronic fatigue and experiencing muscle tension in your shoulders, and headaches. So it can manifest in so many different ways. But something that is really important is, we all have mental health. Like we have physical health, we all have mental health, and I think we need to acknowledge that it's a huge part of our relationships and our life.
Sure. You know what? The thing about mental health also for me is the fact that you always think you've heard everything that you need to hear. Then you have a conversation like this and you're like, oh my goodness, actually, not everything I knew was all there was to hear. And I say that as a recovering people pleaser. So thank you for that. But ladies, as we close out, I just need to ask you, please, I mean, especially as people who are doing such great work in terms of mental health, for someone who's out there who might possibly be afraid to start their mental health journey in terms of looking after it, who might feel overwhelmed, what would you say to them? Laura, we can start with you.
So I would say it's okay to put you first. You know, I think a lot of people kind of make sure that everyone else is okay before themselves, but you can't help others unless you're okay yourself. So, you know, making sure that you're okay, seeking help, or just understanding that you might not always be able to help everyone. Sometimes focus on yourself and the rest will follow.
So I think it's important to understand that we're all struggling. Even if we look like we have it together, every single person is struggling with their mental health in one way or another. And the most important thing for me is seek help, go to therapy. There are so many options available. You don't have to always pay for therapy. Get into therapy and start that process for yourself.
Amazing. Ladies, I've been smiling throughout this conversation just because I really feel like you took us to another level of understanding our mental health and even just the natural ways that are also available to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
It is the Phytoceutics family in the building here to help us understand our mental health a little bit better and, of course, also finding out about that conscious psychology. It is always so good to make sure that you are in the right space. And this is why looking after your mental health, it starts today, okay? If you hadn't already, the journey starts today and it can start so easily for you on Phytoceutics.com. That is where you can find not just natural ways that you can support your mental health, but also ways that you can be supported in many other different ways when we talk about it indeed. You're still on your Feel Good Breakfast show. Make sure you don't go anywhere.
Optimize your gut health with Phytoceutics range of pre, pro and postbiotics. Use code EXPRESSO for 15% off at Phytoceutics.com.